Okay, sorry guys. I just can't handle some things here, so I had to stop the stream. Okay, so this is part 2 for the Cancer male, single and couple. Okay, now I was working off the energy here of justice coming in. Okay, we got some justice coming down for someone. I don't feel it's the Cancer male. I feel like it's someone close to the Cancer male. We got some justice coming in. There's some drama and some burdens going on, and he's thanking his lucky stars he didn't have to deal with it. I feel like the Tower took something out of his life that he's just thankful that it's gone. Okay, that's what I'm getting. Okay, so that's that next pile. Now, for the singles, again, justice is about that give and take and making sure we get that. Now, there might be some drama involved in someone that you're interested in, and you're feeling like that's a bit of a burden and you don't know which way to go here. I feel like the single's on his knees, kind of wanting a relationship, wanting to get in there. But sometimes the Knight of Wands here, he's not always the sharpest tack. He's passionate and full of whatever, but it's all these fleeting things. It's all these fleeting emotions. So he may not be understood that this is exactly what he wants, right? He's begging for it, but it might not be exactly what he wants at this time. So it might be a fleeting thing. Okay. So that's the second level energies we're working from here. Okay. Now, as we get into the romance side, give me a moment. Okay. The first card I get is the King of Wands. So there he is again. We got a Knight. What are we going on here? Yeah, the Knight, the King, and 2 Kings and a Knight. So we're definitely focused on something. We have something in our sights here. We want to, I don't know, we're dealing with something that we're going to figure out here. Okay. The next card here is 21. 21 has to do with burdens of the world, right? We have a burden card. This is usually not the burden card. Usually this is feeling on top of the world. And about closures, right? So the King's sitting here, quite relaxed, I must admit, but there's some kind of a completion that has happened nonetheless, but it was very burdensome while it was there. So there's something I feel like he's been unhinged from, that he's just kind of reeling from it at this point. He's just trying to absorb the fact that this is, done or over with or whatever. So the next card we get is the King of Cups. So this is interesting. So this may be this may be a friend or a father type figure, because right away they give me father figure. I'm like, I'm seeing this guy, but whatever, I'm going to go with it. There's maybe a father type figure here that is more into his emotions and is communicating with the Cancer male at this time and dealing with emotional matters in that way, or highlighting as such. Okay. The next card we get is the 8 of Wands. And the 8 of Wands is about, okay, if we're talking about a couple here, we're talking about the King of Wands, right? He's sitting on his throne. He knows what he wants, and he usually gets it, and he's very focused on what it is. There's a burden or an ending that has happened here within the relationship. Now, something has come to completion, okay, is more, not an ending, but something within the relationship has come to be completed, okay? And it has to do with a karmic tie. Something here, there's a tie on this guy's wrist, signifying. Now it's a letting go. It's interesting how they make me see these cards completely different from one reading to the next. I feel like this guy is letting go of a karmic tie. There's a tie here, and he's just letting it go. Usually I see that as a getting together. These two are getting together, and we're feeling something, but it's the next morning on a one-night stand. But that's not the case here. I feel like this is the long-term relationship, and the woman's, opening the window to leave, and the man is kind of laying there with the tie on his arm, not knowing what to do or what to think or how to take any of it. Okay. Somewhat in shock. Okay. So this is the sense I get. Now, if we're single, again, we're still focused on something. We're feeling the burdens of the world here. I feel like the single male is really feeling the job, the life, rent, and all those day-to-day things are getting him into a position where he's burdensome. Then we have, again, a father figure or a very compassionate male authority who is there to help hear him out. And I get it's like a father type figure, someone he can talk to and get compassionate advice from. And not only that, good advice. And in doing so, he's just kind of venting that way. And then this is the signifier of there's something coming in. In the relationship, I feel there's something going out. And in the single, I feel like there's something coming in. And that's a karmic tie here. Karmic tied relationship may be coming into the mix here. Okay. So interesting. Energy, a little different. Okay, so as we move on here, we get into the romance side. Now, the first card we get is the Knave of Swords. Now, the Knave of Swords, when we're talking about, what was I talking about? Beauty. There we go. This man is struck by beauty. He is flung by beauty. He is objectifying the human body here. And I mean, he's seeing something he likes and he wants to go after it. Basically, is what I'm getting. That's pretty basic on both ends, okay? Two of Wands. The Two of Wands is about connecting at the beginning of a relationship, okay? If we're talking about singles here, we're finding something we're finding visually appealing, and now we're going to go forward and get to know more about it. I want to know more. And then there's the flame of passion there, just saying, I like you and I want to get to know you. Let's talk. Let's communicate. And not only that, I mean, they're flirting under the table, the whole thing. So on the dating scene, we're getting into a mode where we have our sights set on attraction. I feel that straight as an arrow, this guy's focused. So it's obviously somebody he's had his eye on for quite a while, or he has a lot of passion for this direction, okay? So the Two of Wands is really about communicating and bridging that gap from being like, an outsider to suddenly we're communicating and we're getting along. The next card, wow, is the Knight of Wands. So we're not leaving that fiery energy. So he's feeling very passionate, very sprung forward to get this relationship. So the singles are going out there, they're mingling, they're finding an object of affection, getting in there and communicating, making fiery, I was going to say passion, but they're being passionate and getting out there and putting some action into it. And then we end up with the Knight of Wands, which is, going right down the line here. We're seeing, we're talking, and then we're making action, literally, right? So we're getting to the point where we're very much, when we're at the night here, we're traveling into a relationship full steam ahead, okay? The next card I get is the Ten of Swords. What the hell? Okay. Okay. Let's break this down. We'll go to singles first because that's pretty obvious, okay? So the singles, we have our eye on a prize, right? And then we go forward and we make an attempt to get to know this person. We actually, I feel like the Knight of Wands is really about the act itself. They get intimate, okay? Then it ends. This is really, sorry, buddy, but this is what's going on. Like, there's an ending here. So either you got your heart broken by the person that you had your eye on, or you broke their heart and took off, okay? Now, the Knight of Wands is usually a very sensual person, but it doesn't say nothing about longevity here, right? And I mean, we're seeing an end here. If not, no, they're going, it's an end. There's an ending here, okay? So now if we get into the couples side, what's going on, okay? So there's somebody here objectifying their partner in a physical way, okay? There's something about the partner they're going, it's not working. So maybe they're having problems in the bedroom getting together, okay? And they're sitting down and they're going to talk about it. And then it becomes a situation where, you know, things are going smoothly and then boom, there's an ending. So either way, here we have a surprise ending of things falling apart, which kind of doesn't make sense with the flow. But yet in the beginning here, there's signs of it. There's an essence here of a burdening of this man. So it seems like to me, if I take the energy from all the cards here, that we have a man that is overburdened, but somehow in the sexual arena or the physical side of things, it seems to be tempering itself, but it ends up being something that can't sustain. There's something here that you can't sustain it. So you know what I'm going to do is we're going to go, I went horizontal with all the cards. Now I'm going to go vertical because it'll bring out answers to some of these questions I got. Okay, so we'll take the first card of each row and go down in that way, and we'll make sense of everything here. I moved these cards around. Which way did I have them? Yeah, no, this way. Okay. So I'll take the first card of each grouping and we'll just go forward from there. Okay, so the first card on the first row was the Justice. So the balancing out, right? Thinking about things that they want and how they want it done. And they want, you know, in the relationship, we're talking usually here, balancing things. I want to be balanced in a relationship. Okay. And then we have the Truce card, which is kind of interesting because if we're talking about justice, and I feel like this is from the Cancer male's point of view, there's an indecision here. I can't make a decision. I can't make up my mind is what they're giving me. Okay. Now, when we get into the romance side, the card we get is the King of Wands. So that's that. That's him. I feel like that's epitomizing the Cancer energy at this point. He's very much in the fire zone, right? That may be the moon, I think, that's passing or whatever. So he's very much in an action-oriented way, okay? And right now he doesn't want to take action and he doesn't want to make any moves. He doesn't want to do anything at this point. He's just standing, right? Okay, and then, wait a minute. Holy, these cards are all backwards here. Okay, and then the last card I get is the Knave of Swords. And the Knave of Swords is about, how you say, is about the objectifying of that body, you know, outward. So for the couples, okay, we have justice. We're thinking about justice within the relationship, balancing out. And we're not making any decisions or doing anything drastic at this point. We're just thinking about that. And I feel like he's had an example of justice in the relationship, in his life at this point. That's really exploded things to that degree. And then here's the energy that he's sitting in. He's in an action-oriented mode, though he's not taking any action at this point. And then we get the energy of the Knave of Swords, which is, you know, really feeling physically attracted to, you know, someone of the opposite sex and not taking any action forward, okay? So that may be his partner, but they're not getting busy here because there's something that's happened. I feel like a bubble of kind of, I don't know, it's not serenity, but it's definitely kind of like a calm after a big, huge blowout. So there's some kind of a bubble of energy around this Cancer male that he's just holding off on everything, including the sex in the bedroom. And we're just going to, it's truce time and that's it. Okay. So that's really what he's thinking about on the bottom rung here. So as we move into, more of the energies. The second card we get is the Eight of Swords. So that was the drama I was talking about that he had in his life up to this point. Some kind of drama going on around him. I don't feel he carried it, and I don't feel he felt burdened by it. So it was something almost like wrapped up in a partner or family or somebody around him very close that affects him, but not directly, okay? So the Eight of Swords, so that's that drama-rama. Now, the next card I get again is that King of Wands. And he's a very strong head in his family. I'm getting a sense of that. That's what they're saying here. It's like, yeah, I'm here, and you know I'm here, but I'm not getting involved here. This, you know, and I feel like that's the thing is maybe somebody's trying to pull him into something or get him to be responsible for something, but I don't feel it's part of his job, right? So he's taking a mental note and a physical note. He's just taking himself right out of the mix. There's something going on here around him. I think with those in a partnership, it's absolutely to do with the partner, and those that aren't, they're maybe getting tempted with you know, moving in a direction to a partner that may have some drama going on around them. Okay, but they are very much in their own mode where they're not wanting any of that. They're calm, cool, collected. So they gotta do some thinking. The single, I think, is a little more spontaneous in the way that he may get pulled into something that he, you know, if he thinks about it for a long time. But the one in the coupled here, he's very balanced in that way. So the next card I get in the romance is the 21. So look at him looking to the completion card. This is a completion card. And it's also like a burden card. So we have a symbol of a couple holding hands, and they have this kid on top of the world. So it's like the burdens of children, of family, of life, the world are on the couple's shoulders here, right? So this may be part of what is causing the drama in the coupled relationship. I had too much to do, da, da, da. Everybody's miscommunicating and not really having time to settle into each other, right? Because they got so much so much of the other burdens going on that there's no time to do that. So that may be part of the drama. Maybe bringing in the partner, maybe pulling in some energy here and creating havoc, or I'm not too sure. But the Cancer male is definitely looking forward in peace and quiet, or to peace and quiet, right? And the world is, there's a completion here nonetheless. Again, I feel like something happened and we're just in the aftermath of an energy where, you know, you can cut it with a knife. But nonetheless, the Cancer male is relieved and de-stressed because of this, whatever happened. So there's a completion here. And the next card we get is the Two of Wands. So that may be, you know, in the coupled relationship we have had, maybe it was a huge blowout, but somebody else gave it to the partner instead of you. Somebody else gave the partner a good talking to, but it didn't have to be you, but they said what you wanted to say, that kind of thing. That's the sense I'm getting. And time has to pass before the partner can kind of get through this. And he is kind of taken, the Cancer male is kind of taking a stance like, okay, truce, I'm not going to pull any, I'm not going to push or nothing. I'm just going to leave it until it's de-stressed. And then they come to the table and they say, okay, you know, start talking. So there's some communication that does happen for the couple. Now, for the single, there's a sense of being pulled into something here that can cause a lot of drama. It's almost like in the coupled relationship, we've had the blowout, but in the single relationship, it's like we're going into one. But we haven't seen it yet. We're having the talk before the blowout, and then the couple's relationship, we're having it after, that kind of thing. That's what I'm getting strongly from this. So that's the second rung of cards here. Now, as we move down to the third, we have the Ten of Wands. So that's the burden. So what are we going to find out about that? Then we get the Empress. Or no, sorry, the High Priestess. Jeez, I get them too mixed up. So we are burdened by some mysteries, some things that we still do not know. There's things that are heavy upon us, and the reason they're heavy is because we haven't got the answers and we don't know the answers. And we don't have all the information to make an informed decision, right? And that's kind of the sense I'm getting from the Cancer male is there's more to learn here, but he's being very patient and diligent and watching for those cues when he needs to. And he might even be tapping into his intuition and a higher form of compassion, like a dislocated sense of compassion. I'm feeling like in his mind, he's compassionate, but in physicality, he's not going to show it to the partner because it's like he knew there was a lesson here that needed to be learned for his partner. And he's just glad he didn't have to deliver it. So he's glad that the partner's doing this, but he's giving space out of respect for them to deal with it. Okay. So that's that high priestess coming in with the knowledge. I know if I push at this point, or if I say I told you so, then guess what's going to happen? I'm going to get it, you know? So he's using his patience and all of that in the way, but there's still stuff that needs to be uncovered. The next card I get is the King of Cups. Now in this scenario, right? Because before they were telling me it's a father figure. In this scenario, I feel it's the Cancer male's energy. There's his emotions and he's pouring them into the cup, but his mouth ain't moving yet. So he's thinking about how he's going to deal with his partner once all this blows over. Feel like he's just being calm, cool, collected. He's centered. He never fell far off that tree when the bomb hit. You know, he was right in his spot and everything went down. So he's there and he's ready. And so he's mentally going over this. And he's like, I'm feeling a slyness to, okay, I'll be here when, you know, need be. So the time's going to come and he's listening to his intuition. He's got his emotional centers ready to fire when that happens. Now on the physical side of things, the Knight of Wands shows his head. Now this, in a sense, they're going, you know, white knight shining armor syndrome here. Okay. So when we're dealing in the couple situation, so maybe he comes forward here and says, you know, trying to kind of scoop her out of maybe an embarrassing they're going, or some kind of a situation that has come down upon the partner that even though they know it's a lesson for that person to learn, they're going to be that soft spot for them to fall. Okay. So that's the Knight of Wands in that scenario. Kind of takes on a little different energy than it did horizontally, but nonetheless, he's there and he's dipping into all his water elements, the, you know, adaptive ability of his emotions to go where they need to go to help other people in that way, especially the partner. Okay. So for the singles, we have the Ten of Wands, right? The burden card. So I feel like they're being burdened by the fact that they're kind of like, it's like, almost like a burden to try and find a partner, a romantic partner. They're having to use their intuition to come up with like creative ways to do this. The water element, they're having to dip into there, and they may not be happy all the time, but nonetheless, they have the white knight syndrome, and that's what they're going to go forward with. That's their strategy that they're going to use for the singles. They're really going to, I have a feeling they're going to fall into it rather than pick and choose here. They're going to fall into a position where they're naturally, their natural elements of compassion and what's the word? Like being there for like kind of a savior, because that's kind of what the water element is, soothing, right? So like we have a damsel in distress and there's the water element, right? Are you okay? How are you doing? Being all sensitive and stuff, right? So this is what I'm getting a sense of here from this Cancer male on the single side. He is doing that as well. He's waiting and he's kind of feeling burdened by life and all that he has to do in that way. How am I going to fit looking for a partner in all of this? But he's using his instinct to try and temper things a little bit. And he's also, you know, going to be falling into his element in that point. He's going to be in white knight syndrome, and there will be a situation that will arise where he can show that off in the best way. Meaning there will be a damsel there needing help and, you know, compassion, and there he will be. Right? So kind of opportunity will present itself in that way for the single male. Okay. Now, the last rung of cards here, we start off with the Knight of Wands. And when I go through this deck, this guy, he's a little different. The Knight of Wands is that fiery energy, and he's passionate, and he's on one knee, he's off his horse, you know, and all the guys are supposed to be on his horse. So this guy, I give him a little bit of the crazy factor because he's kind of whirlwind in a situation. Okay, so I feel like this is more on the single male side of things. I feel like the coupled male is really strong and sturdy, and I get a different energy when I'm looking at the couples. It's not so much the meaning I give to this card, but nonetheless, they're thankful for something or begging for something. In the coupled relationship, he's very thankful to the degree like, oh my God, I'm so glad I didn't have to do that. And in the singles relationship, he's going, please, will you send me someone that I can deal with, someone on my wavelength, like I need this now, that kind of thing. So it's really pleading with the universe to get things moving because they're feeling ready, even though I don't know the single Cancer males if they truly are. Okay, but we'll find out, I guess, when they get in there. Now, the next card I get is the Four of Swords. So that doesn't bode well for the singles, because the Four of Swords is about rest and recuperation. But we may have, you know, the singles on this side there, they're dealing with the work and all of that. So they may be putting in overtime and they're just bogged out. Like they're going, I can't fit it in. I'm tired, you know. So they may be needing a break from life, you know, activities in order to do that. And I feel like that's what they're going to do. They're going to take time to do that. Okay, and then on the side of the romance, we have the Eight of Wands. So during this time that they're relaxing, we may be coming across an introduction here to someone that we do feel tied to, okay? Or we do have like a chance circumstance, right? Where we get something that we feel a little more tied to than normal. And then on the sex side, we end up, it doesn't work out in the end, right? There's something happens here. It may just be a one-night stand thing, or we find out we have a one-nighter, we find out the girl was lying, she's attached, and that's the end of it, that kind of a thing. So there's something here drastic that happens in that way, in a relationship way, okay? This is kind of a one-night stand thing, but the ribbon on the hand always symbolizes, you know, I feel more than I realized I could feel, that kind of a feeling, which isn't good, because if it ends, right, we have the Ten of Swords, that's the ending. So, you know, I don't know if it's going to come back. You know, I really want to pull, I'm going to pull another card because I can't handle this. Can't just leave it on a bad note. Oh, look at what card I pulled. Okay, so this is where the tie comes in. Okay, give me a minute here. This is for the singles, okay? We have a situation where we're getting together with someone and they may be attached or emotionally not, how do you say? What do you call that? Emotionally detached or whatever. Like emotionally, they're not available. Emotionally unavailable. There it is. Something is wrong here. We have a fiery attraction that comes on quick here. There's no build even, like, but it's like white knight syndrome here. And we get into a situation where we're intimate, and then it next thing you know, bingo bango, things are done. Now either she comes and blows it off, or you I don't see it coming from your side, honestly. I feel it coming from the other side of you. There's some kind of, like I said, either you find out she's actually attached, or she goes out, have a one-night stand, and then she decides to go back to her boyfriend or whatever, you know, like she was available, but then she decides to go back, da, da, da. But this Hierophant brings up, you know, the first thing I got to have to go with is like, no, you met this person and this is the one you want to marry. It's kind of like, yeah, I met this person and this is the one I'm going to marry. But for some reason, it's not available to you, okay? So maybe I shouldn't have picked that card, but whatever. That's what happens. So there's some kind of a short-term thing here that comes through that's kind of confusion, like, you get into it, and then you just start to feel something, and then it's done. It ends. So I don't know what happens there exactly. I don't want to get too specific because then it becomes personal, right? But I'm really not getting anything anyway. They're going, nope, it's a one-nighter, and then it ends up ending, and this has the potential to be marriage, but it's not at this point. So there may be a timing issue here with this person. They may be in between relationships, jumping back and forth, and they need time to truly put that other relationship to bed. But I feel like there's not a lot of build here for the Cancer male single. There's not a lot of, these guys don't know each other. They're just kind of chance meeting, and hey, and then it ends up, in the physical, and away it went. It's like maybe the woman was embarrassed. I don't know. Not embarrassed by anybody, but embarrassed that maybe she went so quickly and, scared and got run off. I don't know. But for some reason, there's the essence here of marriage. Like there's a possibility or an inkling, and I feel like it's in the Cancer male's mind. It's like, oh, this one felt good. This was nice. This was something I could handle for the long term, like that kind of a thing. Not like, oh, obsessive, but in a way where it kind of floated through his head, like, yeah, I haven't come across something like this is good, So that's too bad. But I mean, summer, right? So things can come real quick. They can go real quick. So that's the energy. But nonetheless, for the singles and couples here, there's definitely stuff in the air. There's some drama going on for sure. So I'm going to rehash the initial overall energies with my full mind now. So we have some beauty issues. I still don't understand where that's coming from. I feel like it's more on the single side of things here. They're really getting caught up with looks, okay, outward, outside of themselves. They may be taking account themselves as well, like, but there's a sense here of looking for beauty, right? Beauty that I can have and hold. And then we have the shape shifting, which is the adapting. And I feel like, especially for the coupled relationship, that's what he's doing. He's shifting to what his partner needs. She needs companionship. I'm there. If she needs me to let go, I'm there. And he doesn't have to be told. He just does it naturally. Okay. He's there. He does it naturally. She doesn't have to ask. He just is. He's almost a mind reader. He's one of those dudes that can get into that mode. Don't expect all of them to do that because they don't. But the Cancer male is very sensitive to his partner, and that's what's going on. He's adapting to her needs, and he's doing that in a way where we get over, whatever just blew out. Okay. Then the last card we get is perfection. And I think in the coupled relationship, this is a symbol of how he does. He does it to the perfection of the relationship. So he does it to the betterment of both people involved. And he doesn't ego trip. He doesn't rest and be lazy within the relationship. He steps up where he needs to. He does what he's supposed to do, and he does it in a way that is perfect for both of them. Now, for the single, I feel like he's trying to perfect the relationship. He's trying to get something that he sees as perfect. Now, this may be part of the problem as to why things get tied and end so quickly, is because we're going on a visual and it's not hitting on all levels. That could be another thing coming for this guy, a lesson, right? But no less, that's what he's searching for, is the perfect relationship, right? That's what the focus is on for the singles, that perfect relationship. And I'm not going to settle for less. So he's going to figure out where that takes him. And that's what's going on. But he's open to shifting and moving and adapting to the partner, but he's also focused on the beauty. So we got to watch that. That could be a slippery slope, right? Because sometimes beauty, when we have people that are truly beautiful beyond compare, sometimes there's how do you say, not lessons, but sometimes they get things with a lot less effort, right? So they may not have learned all their lessons in their time that they've been here. So let's take that into account. But no less, that is the energy. For the Cancer male, 34 minutes. Oh, yeah, that's right. I took out half my video. Sorry, guys. I had to break it into two here. When my boy comes in, my brain goes haywire. I can't, and he was just sitting there staring at me. And I had to stop. So, I can't do that because it's like a dog sitting there looking at you when you're eating when they're hungry. You can feel it. It's like, okay, when is she going to be done? Well, I got an hour to go, kid. So I'm going to be alone. So hopefully that helps the Cancer male in his situation there. I think over the summer, he's going to be dipping into something he really truly likes on a visual scale, but it's going to go haywire quite quickly. But keep your doors open, don't burn bridges, and maybe you can make sense of that in the future, because I feel like there's some issues there on both ends. It may be something that's destined for long-term commitment, traditional ways of being, right? Moving in and doing the home thing. There may be things like that going on, but we just have to be patient and less needy, I guess. I don't see it, the Cancer male as being outwardly needy, but he definitely is feeling it on the inside. So for the water signs, hopefully that makes sense to you. Take care and have fun. Now, what did I have to say? I had some announcements to make about my, there's a lot of people coming in asking for, sorry guys, I just can't answer questions. I'm strictly doing the astrology, the horoscopes. But I will be in the fall. I'm taking the summer off, and in the fall I'll be trying to start something back up. So I'll notify people. If you're attached to my Facebook page, Infinity Readings and Reviews, you'll know everything there. And then if not, I will do a little preview video. I'll send out a video notifying everybody I'm going to start, because I think, well, I'll leak it. I think it's going to be the first Thursday of every month, because on my Facebook page, it's the last Thursday of every month I go live in Facebook. So YouTube, I'll try the first Thursday or something like that. Either that, or we'll do it on the same day. One will be morning and night, whatever. So that's what's rolling around in my mind for now, if I have enough interest. So if you subscribe, then you'll get notified, and then we'll be able to go from there. Because these nights that I'm doing these readings, just not a good time to come in and ask me questions. I really do feel that heavily, like people's desperation. Yeah, I feel it. So it throws me in the reading. So it's best to get me in a mode where I'm receptive to that. But anyway, so for the Cancer male, hopefully, again, that helped him. Or anyone who's in a relationship with a Cancer male, it kind of highlighted some things and made sense. So in the meantime, take her easy. I will be back later tonight this is a Cancer male, to go into the Leo female reading. And if not, I'll see you guys on Monday. So take